talk about just some general healthy eating guidelines. There are specific diets that go along with each dosha, and it is important to study those diets and understand the reasoning behind them. And the food lists are helpful, especially if you are cooking just for yourself or for just you and your partner or spouse. And then cooking dosha-specific foods gets more complicated in a family situation, but don't let that stop you from being on an Ayurvedic program, because if you're eating fresh foods and taking on some of these good ideas for nutrition, it's going to benefit everybody. So don't let the fact that you have different doshas in your family stop you from doing Ayurveda. But there are some general healthy eating guidelines that will work for everybody. No matter who you are, they will enhance your health. And these general healthy eating guidelines come from Dr. Vaidya Mishra. He's the LA-based Ayurvedic doctor. And he comes and speaks at the school that I attended in Milwaukee. And so this is part of his protocol. And he says that if we want to feel like whole, vibrant, healthy beings, that it is important that we eat food that has these qualities. And if you think about that expression, we are what we eat, it is true, and Ayurveda kind of breaks it down in a really detailed way. And for instance, if you have a carrot and you take the carrot and chew on it, and then it goes into your stomach and it gets broken down in your stomach and then moves to your small intestine. It's in the small intestine that the nutrients from your carrot pass into your bloodstream, and then from there the nutrients gradually become part of all of your tissues. And so eating food that is, if you want to feel whole, it is important to eat whole foods that are vibrant. And it's also a nutritionally costly thing to be alive. Just for me to be sitting here talking is requiring calories, and so it's important to, when we think about how we're functioning from day to day, to ask ourselves if we are fueling ourselves properly, and if we're malfunctioning during the day, to also acknowledge what could we shift in the way that we nourish ourselves that would help us function at the level that we wish that we were functioning at. And so living is nutritionally costly, and there are many chemical reactions that are happening in the body that are depleting the nutrients that we've eaten. Eating provides us with micronutrients necessary to rebuild ourselves structurally and chemically. So there are 3 phases in Vaidya Mishra's protocol for general healthy eating. And the first phase is to stop taking in toxins. And I already addressed this in large part when I explained the mono diet. But toxins are considered to be those foods that clog the channels of your body and or create a nutritional deficit. And so toxins you can think of as things that you're putting in your body that create debt. Just like if you were to go out and pay for a new outfit on a credit card, you are creating debt, and then not only do you later have to pay back the credit card company for your outfit, but you have to pay interest. And it's very similar with food, that we can be eating food that is creating a deficit or a debt in our body. This is one of the reasons that having food that have chemical stimulants in them is considered creating debt in the body. Think foods that contain caffeine and large amounts of sugar and so forth give us a boost, but then the net effect is that we're actually getting in a deficit. And so foods that create deficit also include processed, refined, canned, and boxed foods. And also Vaidya Mishra is very outspoken on how microwave foods create deficit too, because microwave foods kill the life force in our food. Foods that contain refined sugar, white flour, trans fatty acids, talked about that, hydrogenated oils, non-organic foods, leftovers, artificial sweeteners, and also Vijay Mishra talks a lot about how tap water is dead water and creates a deficit. This is water that has had chlorine added to it. Soda, and like I said, caffeine, high acidic foods. And in Vijay Mishra's protocol, he includes nightshades in this category of toxic foods, which you won't see that with all Ayurvedic doctors or practitioners, but nightshades include tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, eggplant, and any pepper. Any pepper is considered a nightshade. So alcohol is also one of these foods that creates a deficit, and foods containing MSG. So that's the first phase when you're wanting to live more vibrantly, more radiantly, is to think of reducing the amount of toxins in your diet. Reducing, and if you're like me, it's impossible to eliminate altogether, but think of reducing. And my own approach to this is to encourage the idea of reducing, because I've found that it works, the extreme stuff works for some people and it doesn't for others. And especially I want to be cautious when talking about complete elimination to people of the Vata dosha or people with the Vata dosha imbalance in the mind who might be prone to getting neurotic about nutrition. So be gentle with yourselves as you're approaching this process. Be loving, be compassionate, be gentle, gentle, gentle. The second phase is to take measures to get rid of the toxins that you have by maintaining a healthy digestive fire or metabolism. This is an Ayurvedic concept called Agni that I hope to cover in one of these videos. Use spice mixes in foods, teas, etc., and use probiotics in an educated way. Probiotics are the live bacteria that are in yogurt and sauerkraut and miso. Eat regular meals. Don't skip your meals. Don't snack too much. Maintain proper elimination of waste through daily bowel movements, appropriate urination, appropriate sweating. And I always educate people on the ills of using antiperspirants. That antiperspirant will cause the pores in your armpits to swell so that you can't eliminate toxins via the main place of letting go of sweat. And so just wearing deodorant but not antiperspirant. Eat cleansing foods and drinks. Hot water, and then tea. There's a common tea in Ayurvedic cleansing called CCF tea, which has cumin, coriander, and fennel in it. Very easy to make. You just dry roast all of those items and then make a tea out of cumin, coriander, and fennel seeds. Ginger tea, stewed apples and pears, sufficient fiber, and then also daikon radish is a detoxifying vegetable. And cilantro pulls heavy metals out of the body. So that's, I have recipes for chutneys, and chutneys use, a lot of the chutney recipes use cilantro, and like I said, they help get rid of heavy metals. Have an Ayurvedic practitioner guide you through an appropriate cleanse for your situation and constitution. Consume your food with mindfulness and confidence. We lose nutrients from our foods because we do not chew it properly, and my teacher Pat Layton talks about how we are not boa constrictors. We can't just take a huge chunk of food and gulp it down and derive all of the nutrients from it that a boa constrictor could if they did that. So chew your food. We have absorption problems. When we eat our food in a sympathetic nervous arousal. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that I heard Vaidya Mishra say in his workshop that I attended that it would be better to eat a brownie in a calm state than to eat khichdi in a nervous state. So that's really interesting. And with everybody's digestive issues that they have, it makes sense that there's what Dr. Juilliard calls the stress to gut response going on in a lot of digestive problems that people have. And again, coffee and chocolate both put our nervous systems into fight or flight mode. So that was the second phase. First phase was to stop ingesting toxins or reduce toxins. Second phase is to get rid of the toxins that you already have. And the third phase is to repair the damage caused by accumulated toxins. This is for when your collection of symptoms has a name, such as eczema, irritable bowel syndrome, migraine, insomnia, sinus infection, urinary tract infection, and the list goes on and on. These are often the items that will be impetus for people to call me or come in for a consultation. But obviously it's best to take care of things before we get to this phase of being able to name something. But the reality is we all have things that have a name. I've never had any client come in that didn't have any symptom with a name. So when you do, though, have a symptom with a specific name, this now requires a specific diet and lifestyle regime to fit the dosha. For instance, insomnia is a vata imbalance, vata of the mind. And so then that requires specific care for that symptom. If you would like me to create a customized Radiant Living detox and rejuvenation program for you, please email or call to schedule an appointment. My email address is patricia.wickman@gmail.com and my phone number is 715-529-3061. Please visit the Radiant Living website at www.rlyaa.com for more information and pricing.